Hello, everybody. My name is Tanya, and welcome to my art creations channel. And what I have for you today are these two watercolor trees that I did. That one on the right is done in gouache, and the other one on the left, right there, is done in watercolor. Both the same styles and techniques, just different types of paints. And the one I'm going to show you today is the one on the left, the watercolor. I'm going to start with that one first for this one video, and then the next video will be the one in gouache. So I decided to do them separate because it would have just been like one super long video. And you will see some peekaboos of the other one in this video, but what I'm showing you mainly is that one right there. I use a bunch of fun different techniques and pens, as you can see. All right, here are the colors. I use Viridian hue, lemon yellow, and Payne's gray. Those are the two brushes that I used right there. And I used masking fluid, some pens, a silver and a white acrylic. And then I used rubbing alcohol right there in that dropper and salt. So those are all the things I used. And I used this Meeden watercolor paper at 10 by 7. And what I did is I basically did two trees on a 10 by 7. So each one's a 5 by 7. And I just sketched in basically a triangle for each one. And I wet each one down pretty good. Not overly wet, but wet it down with water. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my masking fluid and actually drop in the masking fluid while the paper is still wet, as you can see. And what happens, it kind of spreads out the masking fluid. And instead of creating a sharp edge, like a sharp round edge, it kind of disperses out and it creates kind of a feathered edge. And that's how I got the effects for those lights on the Christmas tree. And you will see it's pretty cool. It kind of spreads out like a watercolor might, a paint might, but not quite as much, of course, but it creates a neat feathered edge when you take off the masking fluid. So I just have one of those little dabbers there, and I just dabbed on my masking fluid. Now I waited till the masking fluid is dry, of course, and then I wanted to start with the background. So as you can see, my watercolor tree is the one on the left, and later I will be doing the gouache one on the right. But I'm just focusing on the watercolor one for this video. So I start with my Payne's gray, and a light mixture of Payne's gray in the background there around the tree. Then I took my Viridian hue and put that in the middle, in the inside of the triangle for the tree. And just spread it around pretty good. And then I took a darker value of the Viridian and put it on the inside, more on the inside. I'm darkening things up, and then I added a little bit of a more darker value of my Payne's gray with some of the Viridian mixed into that Payne's gray. So I'm doing around the edges and underneath the tree. And once I get it how I like it, I will be adding salt around the edges. And then I will also be adding, there's the salt, and then the next thing I'm adding is my dropper of rubbing alcohol. Now, when you add the rubbing alcohol, do the drops of the rubbing alcohol to your tree, you don't want it to be super wet. You'll see. So I'm adding more color because I want it a little bit darker. But You don't want it super wet because then the rubbing alcohol kind of just spreads too much too quickly and doesn't create those kind of nice round blobs that I'm looking for. So there's my dropper, and I am taking my dropper and pressing it against my paper and just slowly squeezing out the rubbing alcohol to create those blobs. And what those blobs are going to be are the ornaments for the tree. If any of you guys have watched my other tutorials, I really enjoy making these alcohol blobs. That's what I call them. I've made different things out of them, but mostly trees. But I thought, hey, that'd be kind of cool to make into ornaments for your Christmas tree. So there it is. Looks a little bizarre, but it turns out pretty cool. So of course you gotta let everything dry really nicely. And here I am taking my little eraser and I'm rubbing off um, the masking fluid. And as you can see, it see how it feathered out? It creates those kind of interesting effects. So that's gonna be the lights for the tree. And the salt turned out pretty cool too. So I'm just taking my lemon yellow and I'm just wetting my little blobs first with some water, then dropping in a light mixture of lemon yellow. So it's kind of like a wet on wet method for those lights. And I'm kind of working around, putting that lemon yellow also around on the green, on the Viridian, I should say, to create kind of like a glow look on the Viridian. And then I decided just to make it a little bit darker. So as you can see, I'm just adding more of the lemon yellow, a darker value of it to those blobs. Next, I am working on the top of the tree and I will be adding some of the boughs, and I took a mixture of the Viridian with the Payne's Gray for that. This is I believe it's a number 6, or it could be a number 4. I'm sorry. I will put it in the description. My round brush, and I'm just using little flicks to create what looks like the boughs or the branches of the tree. Then I'm adding a little bit more of a darker of the mixture of the Payne's Gray and the Viridian, just to add a little dimension and to add the trunk of the tree. And then I add a little bit of the Viridian hue. So I let it dry. So now it's completely dry, and I'm coming in with my highlight pen. And this is the fun part. You know, you can get really creative with how you want to decorate your ornaments. I basically stuck to simple, like kind of swirly circles and some kind of starburst doodles. But, you know, you could do so many different things. You could do stripes, you could do, gosh, zigzags, dots, all different kinds of things. But I kind of stuck to, I think it was like 3 to 4 of the same designs for this tree. And just kind of spaced them out in various areas of the tree. Sometimes I do like to keep the blobs simple because the blobs themselves make some really interesting textures and they kind of look neat just by themselves. But for the Christmas tree, I wanted to jazz them up and make it a little bit more flashy. And here, have fun with lots of dots. And I wanted to make some kind of little, I don't know, a topper or something at the end there. So I just did a little scrubbing of the paint out and then added some white gouache. Which, you know what, I forgot to show that in the beginning. So I do add a little bit of white gouache to this. And then I'm wanting the lights to become brighter. So I'm taking that white gouache and I'm actually putting a dot of the white gouache in the center of each one of those lights. And then I'm taking a light wash of the lemon yellow and just adding some of it to the tree just to kind of give it a nice glow. So that's just a light wash of the lemon yellow kind of to give it more of that yellow glow. And then I'm also adding some of it to the bottom there. And some more white gouache. And I will have my colors and what I use them just into the description of the video. Next, I'm using my acrylic Posca pen just to add some little swirls and also to add some more white to that, to those lights. Trying to brighten the lights up. So I added more white to the center of those lights and these little swirls there with the Posca pen. Since the Posca pen is very opaque, it works nicely for that. Now I'm taking some of that lemon yellow, a thicker mixture of the lemon yellow, and I'm just going around each one of those, each one of the white lights, going around the acrylic dot that I put with the Posca pen, doing that with the lemon yellow. I'm brightening it up. Try to get those lights to stand out more. And adding a little bit to the Christmas tree topper there. And then I wanted to add a little bit of a sparkle. So this is a silver metallic gel pen. And just going over those little swirls that I made with the acrylic marker. Some dots, and there you have it. A cute, whimsical Christmas tree with glowing lights in watercolor. I hope you guys like it. Please like and subscribe if you haven't. I would really love that. And thanks for watching and giving me your time. Have a great day. Bye-bye.